Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Eternal Spring. I'm Paul Thurrott, and I'm here as always with my wife, Stephanie. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So we get asked a lot about medical care here in Mexico City, and so far our experiences have been overwhelmingly positive, I would say.
Hmm.
It's similar to that in France or probably most of Europe. Many drugs that require prescriptions in the United States are just available over the counter here. They're much less expensive. They also have much more effective drugs than we get in the US. And there are local pharmacies where you can get everything done quickly and easily, assuming it's not an emergency,
Hmm.
I
Yep.
guess.
Yes. Um, yeah, and so far we haven't had any serious issues, but we've picked up some prescription drugs at the local pharmacies where they are just sold over the counter here. We've picked up some medication for some, food poisoning or minor stomach issues. The pharmacies here are different than they are at home. They're almost always open for long hours, and you almost always have to buy whatever you need with the help of somebody behind the counter. They're literally sold over the counter. And then there are usually doctors in a office right next door who can examine you and prescribe medications. So if you need prescriptions, you can get them prescribed and filled right away.
Yeah. This is Mexico, so there's kind of a fun element to pharmacies too. They can be a little strange. Some of them have giant speakers outside or up in the corner, and they're just pumping music out into the world because it's Mexico, I guess. They always try to upsell you when you make your purchase, right? So I think like vitamins and sunscreen and
Yep.
some other
Hmm.
odd items.
Yep.
And if you don't know Spanish, you're going to need to do some work. I would, get your translation app ready. Maybe get there with a screenshot of the item you think you're going to need. If you know what it is, like for your stomach, you can have a picture of it, and then they can match it to something in the store.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah, so far so good. But then this week, Stephanie actually had a problem. She woke up one morning and was complaining about her mouth, having some pain in her mouth.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought I got, a popcorn kernel or something like that stuck between my tooth and my gum, but um, that stuff usually gets better pretty quickly. And it had been a couple days and it really wasn't getting any better. And then, the night before this, I woke up, the pain was bad enough to wake me up during the night. And I started to realize that this, probably wasn't normal and could possibly be infected.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we woke up in the morning and drinking coffee and whatever. She says, I'm going to go to the pharmacy. So off she went.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
because I Googled my symptoms and I could realize it could get worse.
Yeah.
But of course, I was nervous about this. It's easy to put off these kind of, what semi-minor medical problems because I didn't really know how the system worked. My Spanish isn't that good. And especially for medical issues, I don't have a lot of, you know, specific
Right.
Spanish for that kind of thing. For example, I know the words for mouth and tooth, but I had to look up the word for gums.
Right.
But I did that, and I headed over to the closest pharmacy, which is just about a 5-minute walk from here. And there were a few chairs outside of the doctor's office, but nobody was there, so I wasn't quite sure exactly what to do. And there was a woman there cleaning, so I asked her, and she said to just knock on the door. So the doctor said, "Come in," and I apologized for my Spanish, and luckily for me, he spoke English really well, so that made a big difference, made it a lot easier to have this interaction. Um, he asked me, pretty much what you would expect, what symptoms I had, how long I had had them. He took my temperature, he listened to my heart and my lungs, and then he looked in my mouth with his cell phone light, and which I thought was a little bit weird, but works well. And he immediately said, "That's definitely an infection."
Right.
And then he gave me prescriptions for amoxicillin, ibuprofen, and a medicated mouthwash.
Yeah. So that you had an exam, you
Hmm.
got a prescription for an antibiotic, some pain medication, and some mouthwash, which probably
Hmm.
require a prescription. But how much did all this cost?
Well, the doctor's visit was 50 pesos. You pay that separately to the doctor. That works out to be about $2.70 US.
Okay. And what would that have cost at home? I mean,
If for a regular doctor, I think it's close to $200 for an appointment. And if you go to urgent care, it's usually a $50 copay. So quite a
Right.
bit more.
Yeah. So a little cheaper here in Mexico.
Yeah, like an order of magnitude cheaper.
Right.
And then I took the prescription next door to the pharmacy.
Yeah, that's the nice thing, right? These things are right next to each other. So how
Mhm.
much was so the three things that you got, antibiotic, the pain reliever, and the mouthwash, how much was all
Mhm.
that? Like,
The antibiotic was 138 pesos, so that's about $7.44.
hmm,
The pain reliever was 29 pesos, so that was $1.56. And then the mouthwash was 72 pesos, so that was $3.88.
right. So I'm not going to pretend to do the math right here, but that works out to a little bit under $16 US.
Mhm.
Right. Not
Yes.
not bad.
No, no, not bad. And I was probably done in less than 15 minutes. It was honestly, it was much more convenient than it would have been in the US at home. At home, I would have had to, take some time off from work, drive to either the doctor's office or an urgent care location. And then they'd send the prescription over to the pharmacy, which is in a different location. I have to wait for those to get filled. Um, that can take a half a day.
Oh
And it
yeah.
seemed like here, all the care and the prescriptions seem like they're the same quality as we have in the US.
Mhm. So this happened, I think this was Tuesday, so maybe 3 days ago. I mean, how are
Hmm.
things going now?
Going good. The pain's a lot better. The inflammation is better. I can look and see that the part of my mouth where it was is not as red, so that's improving. And I feel a lot better. And now that I've done it, I'm glad I didn't wait.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's too bad this happened, but at least you did go in
Hmm.
proactively or quickly. And now we know how this works, and we also know how inexpensive it can be. Um, I guess we'll check back when we have a major medical condition that we can report on. Um, hopefully not. But so that kind of covers it. I mean, it was it's again, it's too bad it happened, but it was a positive experience overall. So
Yeah, the
good.
whole experience was just simple. And we know the doctor works there now, so
Yeah.
we can see him again if we need to.
Yeah, this is sort of like how I wanted to call this originally first class medical care in a third world country, you know. Well, thank you for watching. We will be back soon with another video.
Thank you. Bye.